Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fluffenbusters. My name is Adam, Prince of Eternia, keeper of the secrets of what Gruffy does on a Saturday night. With me is no mere fearless friend, but a guy whose facial hair actually makes even Man-At-Arms feel like an inadequate teen. Yes, it's Big D. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, mate. How are you handling yourself?
I'm okay.
Excellent.
I am two thumbs up and a really big grin okay at the screen.
In fairness, Man-At-Arms' moustache was incredibly envy-generating in the 80s
Oh,
in both
bel
films, in fact.
believe me, sir, my first question when this film starts will not be, "Hey, what about that Masters of the Universe film?" It will actually be mustache based.
Excellent.
That's the one element of this commentary I have planned. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't realize, yes, we're going to be talking about or talking through Masters of the Universe, the 80s classic this week. But also, as well, if you're new to us, a few rules here. Firstly, we're going to talk all the way through the film. We don't know exactly what we're going to talk about. We'll just see where the conversation leads us. And yes, it would be lovely if we could put this lovely full film up on YouTube for you, but we can't do that. So instead, if you're watching on YouTube, I've done a little stills version of the film along with a time code to help you all watch along. But considering this is a very good idea from D, we're actually going to start this film from the start of the Canon logo. So
Yeah.
I'd say let's just crack into it because there's lots of
Yeah,
waffle
I
that I've
think
got
so.
ready for this one. So
Okay.
whenever you're ready, mate.
Well, let's give it a 1 and a 2 and a boom. There we go.
Lovely.
God, Canon it's weird to think that Canon was such a big part of 80s films.
It was. It was like the old reliable. I suppose A24 would be the equivalent now, a studio that wasn't big, but when you heard, oh, it's an A24 film, you have at least an expectation of what it's going to
Hmm.
be.
I mean, Canon kind of had a bit of a rep in the 80s for they put out a lot of what would be classed as B movies,
Hmm.
and a lot of stuff that not video nasty, but stuff that had a high body count. A lot of classic 80s action films came out of them,
Hmm.
and then they just went away in the early 90s. It was so sudden as well from an outside point of view. But then you look at things and they they had a bad run. They really did.
They had a run that only Lionsgate matched last year, I think, with
Yeah.
Borderlands and just this was it last year? I'd like to
Yeah,
think no.
Borderlands I think was last year, yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. Anyway, moustaches. Sorry, back to the
Mm.
important stuff. So, in between Man at Arms and Magnum, I started thinking about facial hair, and I realized that the 80s were a kind of hallowed time because it was the only time that all types of facial hair could be allowed. You could
Yeah,
have your moustaches. You know, think about your Lando Calrissian. So you have your thin moustaches, your heavy moustaches. You could have your mutton chops. You could have your full
yeah.
beard. I think. Oh, what was it? The Richard Chamberlain did the King Solomon's Mines. I'm pretty sure he had a pretty hefty beard there. I think the
Yeah,
only facial hair that really didn't kick in was designer stubble until the late 80s. And yes, ladies and
mm.
gentlemen, if you're younger here, stubble, what we know as just stubble, was not really a thing that was considered to be appropriate until people started having stubble, and then for some reason they called it designer stubble.
I mean, it's weird because there was a bit of it because it was quite common for in the action flicks for the hero to eventually have a moment where he's quite stubbly.
Yeah.
I mean, Harrison Ford in the indie movies, uh, Arnie in most of his big action flicks. To be fair, normally he'd normally go from being very smooth to very stubbly, or from stubbly to very smooth. It was either
Willis
or.
would do that as well, yeah.
Mm. Uh, but yeah, it was a weird old time, the 80s for the old facial hair.
And because of the films that were being put out, and again, for people nowadays, so imagine the market was a lot freer. Imagine that dozens of films were being put out. Imagine that people flocked to films. So even films that didn't do particularly well were still doing well enough Like everyone was going to try and see as many films as they could.
Yeah.
And so you had the rise of these smaller studios, and Canon was one of them, that were putting out some stuff that was a bit schlocky, a bit weird, a bit
Mm.
wonderful. But they certainly had designs of grandeur. I mean, they
Oh,
really wanted to be a big style studio, didn't they?
oh yeah. And honestly, if you want an example of that, look at this film. This
Oh
film's
yeah.
visual design. I mean, we've just talked over Frank Langella introducing a Skeletor,
Mm.
and my God, does he just devour this film
Oh,
in
every bit
actually
of it.
quite a decent mask for the time. I
Yeah,
mean, sure.
it got slack, but I
Mm.
don't think you could get better. In fact, I thought at the time that they'd hired somebody who had a
Mm.
condition, not a condition, but the sort of Doug Jones type thing where someone was very, very thin, and so
Yeah.
prosthetics could work to carve out hollows. And yet he looks incredible. In fact, the only thing against him is that when that cowl comes off, the effect is not ruined, but it's then a mask. But with that fabric and that
Mm.
beautiful fabric which swallows up the light. I mean, it's almost like
It really does.
it's
It's
almost
this
like they,
crushed velvetish
yeah.
material that just. Mm.
And yeah, folks, as well, this is a case of, and it did happen in the 80s where uh, because the whole rise of the baddie being sometimes overpowering the good guy in terms of charisma on screen, and the whole idea that this was all about Skeletor and that He-Man was kind of never going to act the chops off of anything. You had these actors coming into roles where the bad guy overshone the good guy.
Mm.
And they had luck in this, in that Frank Langella, who is a huge respected artist, like serious old school stage screen actor,
Yeah.
and he is like Raul Julia in Adam's Family. He absolutely wanted to do this. Actually, it's like Raul Julia in Street Fighter as well. Like his
Did
kids wanted him to do
Yeah, he did
this,
it for his
and,
kids.
and he just threw himself into it 110%. And I've just realized one of the guards actually slips and falls over there.
That is quite funny. I
So
just love how this film. The weird thing is that this isn't actually the first massive universe movie. There
no.
was another one earlier in the 80s, which was the film that introduced She-Ra.
Hmm.
And it's weird to forget that actually He-Man, or Massive Universe, that's what the property was known as for most of its lifetime, was actually massive. Probably
Oh,
for about 5 or 6 years, the biggest property.
and yeah, I don't know if there's some really good videos online as well that deal with the story of He-Man. And one of the
Mm.
weirdest things about it is they put out the toy line. And I know we'll go into more of the history of He-Man later on, but they put out the cartoon. They put out a big long series, and then that was it. They were like, yeah, yeah, we're done with it.
Yeah,
And it was they then brought out She-Ra, but it was like, why didn't you not continue? Why did you not just
yeah,
run with this? It was doing gangbusters.
yeah. I mean, the comic was what we had over here for the most part to get us
Yep.
into it, because as with a lot of these properties, I've mentioned it before with Transformers, the cartoon didn't air on as it did in the States. It was normally aired as part of either a Saturday morning
Mm.
show on one of the two channels, or it aired on school holidays,
Hmm.
and like one episode over a week. So like in 5-minute bits, which was really weird. Um, but I mean, the toy line was nice and chunky, and honestly, I mean, I don't know about you, but I had loads of this stuff as a kid. Because
Now I'm gonna say, I think I have a year or two on you, and that's not that. Trust me, that's not a brag when you get to our age. But
no,
so I remember when He-Man was in full episodes on ITV,
mm,
but also as well because of the timing for myself. And please don't play any violins, folks. But growing up in a recession hit 80s household, I basically got to choose one toy line, and I didn't even get
mm,
anything outside of Christmas or birthdays. And even then, my parents were really crap at getting toys. I'm not saying this to draw tears. I'm saying this that I only ever saw He-Man
mm,
on the shelves. I only ever, if I got to hold a figure, it was
yeah,
a friend's figure. So I had this almost bloated admiration for the toys because they were something I never got.
Well, I mean,
But I did always get that cartoon, which was good.
yeah. I mean, for me, I was somewhat fortunate in that because my dad travelled a lot for his job, he'd normally pick up bits and pieces from overseas for us, and especially when we were in Hong Kong, stuff was a lot cheaper there as well to
Yeah.
pick up. But I mean, for me, I didn't actually have I didn't have any of the play sets, any of the castles or anything. Almost all the vehicles I had were bought at boot sales. I
Nice.
didn't buy any. I didn't have any of them new. They were all secondhand. But they were all they. The thing about MOTU stuff, it was damn near indestructible.
Oh, it
I mean,
was big and
it,
clunky,
it was
but
big and
beautiful.
chunky. It took a lot of space, but the toys were really they got it. They got things right, you know.
Yeah.
And it was weird. I mean, the thing is, the cartoon was kind. You want to say it was done cheap, but in some ways it wasn't because it had a bit of rotoscoping done to it, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Just it had moments where the animation could be exceptionally good, but then you'd have the moments where an armor would be the same model recycled across the screen 3 times. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, it was weird that they had the original MOTU series, the movie that introduced She-Ra, and then they did the New Adventures in
Yep.
the early 90s, which was a very bizarre show, and then that was it. Which
Yeah.
is so weird because the toy line it was huge.
It was massive, and in fact, it was. I think the after the initial run of cartoons, the second run, it was the show, and I've never seen. I don't think there has been a toy line that has ever been fumbled so bad from a position of power. Now, just to say to everyone as well, if you've never seen this before, so He-Man has a bit of an interesting origin in the fact that it is not. It's been proven legally that it's not a rip-off of Conan, but it did take influence from it. There was also a cartoon series. Is it Thunder the Barbarian?
Yes,
That
Thundar the
was like,
Barbarian.
yeah, which was almost like another same but different. And it was a couple of years beforehand, and then it finished before this started. He-Man was always its own thing. It just took a lot of influence from these other shows, and then went on did gangbusters in the 80s because He-Man was also the first show that, or along with Transformers, that took advantage of the new Reagan era. Yes, you can advertise toys to kids, and so at this point, yeah, the American public just snapped all this up, and they then wanted to make a film of it. Mattel were really controlling. There were obviously budget concerns, which meant you couldn't do full Lord of the Rings, which is what really He-Man would have been. Everything in this strange new world, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Hence, they went for Earth, and you had lots and lots of rulings all the way through. And Mattel were being a bitch, and Canon was struggling, and they had these beautiful sets, and this all sort of fell apart, and yet it's staggered and there are still really good elements to it. And if you've
Yeah.
never seen this before and you're watching the YouTube of this now, so you're seeing stills, you're looking at these costumes and going, what's this? I didn't know about this. This looks kind of cool. Man-At-Arms looks an utter badass.
He
He-Man
does.
is honking huge.
I mean, it's Dolph. Dolph Lundgren is a slab of humanity unlike anything that's walked the earth.
Yep.
The man is. If he wasn't so damn charming in interviews, you'd really hate him because he's a
Yep.
legitimate genius. Because he has a
Yep.
master's degree in chemical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
He speaks multiple languages. I think he's a black belt in at least one martial art
Yep.
or something. Famously bounced Sylvester Stallone's heart off his ribcage in shooting Rocky 4.
Yep.
And honestly, he commits to playing this character.
He jumps in, and even though there was speech problems, there were accent problems, and remember as well, this is the time, folks, when Arnie was allowed to get away with his speech impediments because he basically leaned into it and made it his thing. Whereas Dolph I think because they hadn't really thought about this as an idea for him, like he did this movie, he was constantly being told his voice wasn't good enough. I think they were threatening to dub over him. They then dubbed over him, but he did it later on when he got a bit better with the voice, and yet he committed 100%. He's a lovely, lovely guy. He coached, I believe, an Olympic team in the pentathlon.
Sounds about right.
He's beaten cancer twice,
Yeah.
and he does films now for fun because why not?
Yeah, and honestly, if you want a good time, any of his like late 90s, mid 2000s straight to DVD action movies,
Yeah.
they're almost all incredibly entertaining. Far better than
Isn't
anything
there the
else.
one with Brandon that's pretty good?
Yeah. Rapid Fire, I think that one is with Brandon
Yeah.
Lee. That was a. I've never gone around to watching all of that. I've seen snippets, and it's such a. It gives you an insight of what we lost with Brandon Lee
Yeah.
passing so tragically. Because I mean, Dolph is excellent. Brandon just has his father's charisma
Yeah.
and presence, and that's something it's incredibly rare to find even once in a lifetime, and to have it, the potential of what we could have had with Brandon, much like his father passing so soon. There's an alternate reality where Bruce Lee, he had a much longer career in films, and his family did as well.
Mm.
And that you can kind of game out how that changes things potentially.
I love, by the way, I love that we're like 14 minutes into this, and it's like, oh great, so we've just added The Crow to the mix for a
Yeah.
feature film.
Should I
Now,
do a bit of just scene setting for what was?
yes, please,
Okay,
because
so
most people won't even know what the hell this is.
for anyone who's coming to us into this late, basically this film takes place after any other bit of massive universe story. This is
Yep.
Skeletor's one. There's no Prince Adam. He's He-Man for the whole film. Eternia is this weird setting because He-Man was always picked. It was basically a fantasy science fiction show.
Yep.
Whereas Star Wars is science fiction with fantasy elements, this is fantasy with sci-fi wired in.
Yep.
Leaning real hard into the idea that a lot of technology is indistinguishable from that old vibe. And it means that they could do some incredibly goofy stuff in the toy line, the show, the comics, and in the film.
Mm.
Although one thing I find quite interesting is that they're about to arrive on Earth. One thing I don't think they ever mention in the film, but it is actually in the original cartoon, and got referenced again in Kevin Smith's sequel series a couple of years ago on Netflix, is that He-Man's mother is from Earth.
Oh no. There's stuff. I
Is
have
there?
stuff for that. Yeah, that'll be later on.
Hmm.
Don't worry, I have that lined up.
Excellent.
But
Yay!
there are alternate scenes that never were in this film.
But it is fun though. How this basically Skeletor's a bit more of a mashup between of him and Hordak in
Yes.
terms of their vibes, which was an interesting way to take things. But I did dig it.
I love it. Skeletor just looks at the camera occasionally, just for the hell of it, because he can.
Yeah.
But you want to be the camera operator, by the way, at the end of that. You're thinking, Frank's just going to walk up and say something and look off dramatically. But no, he looks right at you and basically goes, I'm Skeletor.
Yeah. And the thing is, you have to. Part of you deep down really would have liked to have seen maybe in animation. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Is Frank Langella still? I think he's probably retired by now.
I think he's mostly retired. I saw one of his
Yeah.
last shows. I saw him Frost Nixon with
Yeah.
Michael Sheen. I got him to sign something,
Oh,
and
nice.
to my dying day, I was so tempted to say "I love you" as Skeletor, and I wish I'd said it because I didn't realize that he considers this his favorite film role.
You know what? I can understand that because his filmography. I mean, you can kind of throw a dartboard at Frank Langella roles and go, "Oh yeah, that was really good." I mean,
Yeah.
he was excellent in some of Deep Space Nine's best stuff in its early seasons.
Oh, did he play like some sort of torture or
No,
intimidate a
he
guy?
was a Bajoran.
Ah,
He was leader of the Circle in the opening three episodes of Deep Space Nine season 2.
okay.
He kind of led that whole isolationist faction on Bajor, allied with Kai Wynn. I don't think he appeared in season 1 at all, but he was in those first 3 episodes of season 2, and then that was him done with. But he was genuinely good because you could understand his point of view. He wasn't evil for evil's sake. He thought he was doing the right thing for Bajor, coming
That's
out of.
let's face it, it's the template for a good bad guy. When the bad guy
I mean, that's
believes they're
DS9
doing something
excelled
right.
at doing that. It gave you villains who they weren't that black and white. Also,
Hey,
famously,
so anyone new to the show, yeah, this is
uh,
what I mean by tangents.
yeah. But getting back to Raul Julia, famously on Broadway, Raul Julia played Dracula. When it
Yep.
got made into a film, Frank Langella took the role because I think Raul was unavailable for filming,
Ah.
and I think Frank had performed it on stage as well, so it made sense. So, which
Can I say, sorry?
mm,
Dolph is giving some commitment here. I've realised in it because he's in the background. I mean, again, this is what happens when you cast somebody purely based on their physique, and
mm.
they knew it was going to be a bit of a challenge. But Dolph does commit. I mean, he's
Oh,
doing all of
absolutely.
this as well, wearing a costume which, let's face it, is a bit challenging for a guy to wear. The shoulder pads, yes. The kind of weird straps over the chest,
Yeah.
maybe. But the rest of it's just a bit weird. And yet they do all these little things. Like, there we go. They do a sign language and a code and stuff. There's lots of world building in here.
Mm.
I mean, this film, although it kind of fails, when you see the film, I think it's golden. I think it's
Oh, yeah.
definitely a guilty pleasure for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. And it's kind of fun just because of what it represents. Because this was like, I'm trying to think. When was all right? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came in 90, I want to say, and
Yeah, it was
that was
around that time.
that was really the second toy line to get a live action film. There were
Yeah.
animated features for a lot of these franchises, but live action was kind of like the big stepping stone. But then
Mm.
we didn't. After the Turtles, this was first, then the Turtles, who had a decent free film run,
Yep.
and then nothing till really Transformers.
That's
None of the
true,
other
actually.
franchises had. They didn't go to the cinema. You had franchises that got toy lines, but not toy lines that became films because it just the model changed.
Mm.
And also, I always get weirded out. Not weirded out. First time I rewatched this when I was at university after a long time in like 2003, my brain had a moment where I went, "Wait, is that Courtney Cox? And is that Tom Paris?" Because
I had a weird moment where I thought, is that Courtney Cox? Hang on, is that Linda Hamilton? Just for a
yeah,
second. Because it's that 80s waitress vibe, all
mm,
innocent star, and it's yeah, crazy.
I mean, it is so bizarre because Courtney Cox. This is long before she blew up in Ace Ventura and Friends,
Was
and
this after Bruce Springsteen though, or was this like during Bruce Springsteen?
I think this might have been during.
But for those who don't know as well, this is how old we are, folks. So Courtney Cox, who you might know but might not know, she was in some old films called Scream and some old TV show called Friends that you probably your parents will tell you about it one day. But her
Yeah,
claim to fame was she was in a pop video, and that could make you a star back then, or at least it could lay the
yeah,
groundwork for making you a star.
absolutely. That was the
Tom
entry point for a
Paris,
lot of people.
I don't. Yes, Star Trek. I mean, it was the
Robert
thing.
Duncan McNeil. Uh, after after this, he appeared as Nick Lucano in Star Trek: Next Generation. Then in Voyager, they cast him as Tom Paris, who's basically the same character effectively. He's not, but he's gone on to great success as a director.
Oh, brilliant.
He does a lot of TV work. He's basically he followed the Jonathan Frakes route.
Mm.
I don't believe he's done any feature film work, but on TV, I mean, there's him, LeVar Burton, Roxanne Dawson. I mean, honestly, the way the Trek shows had that pipeline because after Frakes did it, all of
Yeah.
they made a point of offering the option to a lot of the cast if they wanted to get in on behind the scenes stuff, who wanted to direct or write. They gave them the training to do so. He's reprised Tom and Nick recently in Star Trek Lower Decks, which is, you know what, Caldor down in that pot of gravy. I know people who would do that without a hesitation.
I do. Unfortunately, I do need to break some illusions here. The largest fantasy element of this film is the fact that nobody in their early 30s would go to a drive-through and make out with their partner, obviously in a car just by the exit. Nobody ever did that. Maybe 12-year-olds, but not 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
This film has a lot of little swerves. So at the beginning, we know they lost, and then they're looking at the beautiful artifact, and then Gwildor says, "This is why you lost. I kind of screwed with people." And then you have this scene, which I think for some might actually be the first bit of vegetarian stroke veganism in a film, where they go, "Oh, what's this? Oh, we're eating animal."
I mean,
And
it's a really interesting moment because Duncan is a soldier, a
yeah,
veteran
practical.
soldier. He's lived a long life. Tila, she's grown up in a very different world because the world of MOTU before this film
Yeah,
was a much more idyllic setting, Eternia. So you
yeah,
can kind of understand how she might not have. They might not have had the need to eat meat in that way, meat that
yeah.
came from an animal. They
She's
might have
she's
had
she's
other
kind
ways
of
of.
she's both super tough, but she's
Hmm.
also kind of innocent in the wider world, so
Yeah,
to speak.
but it is a fascinating little moment.
And these two play off each other as well. So like Man-At-Arms is the stoic sidekick. So again, if you've never seen the cartoon, does Man-At-Arms know about He-Man? Like the
Yes,
dual
yeah,
identity. But
yeah.
Tila doesn't. That's the thing.
No,
Even though Adam is the own Prince Adam, the alter ego with his pink shirts, is the only person with that hairstyle in the
yeah,
land apart from He-Man. They share a barber. That's nice.
yeah. Let's say the Kevin Smith cartoon dealt with that. I think pretty well. To be fair, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I've got a soft spot for them, mainly for the second season more than the first.
Yeah, wasn't it the case that they sort of had to set it up in a way that probably pissed off a lot of fans, but so they could then bring it back? So the whole plan was to kind of almost do a nightmare for fans, but then bring it back to what it should have been. But
Yeah,
they didn't
and
really advertise that much, so fans just saw
no,
the first season and freaked out.
yeah, and the thing is, it's actually when you sit down and watch the whole thing, it's a real grab bag from the entire setting, from the entire history of the character, in terms of what shows up, which is kind of fascinating on its own terms. Some great voice work. I do think Melissa Benoist taking over from Sarah Michelle Gellar as Tila is a very good choice in season 2,
Yep.
especially for where her character goes. But I must admit, part of me is still a bit bummed out that we never got a crossover with the more recent She-Ra cartoon, The Princesses of Power, because that I will admit I watched all of that series because it was flipping brilliant. It doesn't talk down to folks. It does some really interesting stuff, much like the Voltron show did and Steven Universe, which is not a surprise because a lot of the Steven Universe team rather worked on She-Ra.
That's not a surprise.
But although the really weird thing about Netflix and He-Man is that they had 2 separate He-Man shows. Because there was the Kevin Smith show that was Revelations, which was a straight sequel to the original, just with
Yeah.
bigger budget and much grander ambitions. But you also had the He-Man and the Massive Universe show, which was aimed at the kid market. all CGI animation. Honestly, pretty good, I'd say, for what it is. With some great voice acting. I mean, they get Stephen Fry to voice Manny Faces
Oh, fantastic.
as this underworld Fagin type king of the underworld underneath Eternia, and and honestly, it's just fun. The idea of having Tila, Duncan, and Adam all the same age, as much younger than we've ever seen them before, that's actually kind of fun.
That helps.
And the way they approach Skeletor and his minions, that they're all kind of powered up by tech that he basically shoves into them. That's kind of cool.
Speaking of tech being shoved in, we have IT support at the moment in the background. Now they are the bad guy goons who are human, as opposed to the guys wearing the armor who are absolutely robots. And that is why they're in the full armor, because Mattel wanted them to be full robots, so nobody got killed until about halfway through the film when they said yes, you can go kill people, but it was too late. We're also seeing as well Skeletor, but the real star of the film is Evil Lynn. Evil Lynn, a woman in a man with skull faces man's world, trying to do right, clearly being overruled, and just seeing this whole plan go drastically wrong, even though she's the one that made it succeed in the first place.
I mean, that's Evil Lynn's lot in life throughout the franchise. She is the one who makes all the plans, and then Skeletor fucks up the execution. And that is pretty much...
That's it.
That's like 90% of the original cartoon plot, folks. Great plan.
If it
Evil
wasn't...
Lynn gets most of the way, Skeletor fumbles it across before he gets to the line.
It's only because Skeletor has the sort of the whiny voice that gets away with it, that you think, oh, he must have been planning that all along. Like, no, Evil Lynn planned it. He just screwed it up. Is there not an episode where Evil Lynn has to work with, I think it's Tila, to escape somewhere?
Yeah.
And by the end, like, Tila's like, you're not a bad person. Why don't you do some good?
Yeah.
And I think she says, maybe I will. I don't know. I think it's left a little bit open.
Well, one of the joys of that Kevin Smith show especially is that Evil Lynn goes on a hell of a journey throughout it. And it helps that they have Lena Headey doing her voice work.
Oh, fantastic.
But she goes to some really interesting places. And I don't want to spoil it, because I think it's a story that is well worth people sitting down and giving some time to. But it's pretty decent. I'd also like to point out the chap who plays, I think it's Slash here, the swordsman.
Yep.
Is one of the most famous sword masters in Hollywood. Basically, at this point, it was him and Bob Anderson.
I was going to say, it couldn't have been Bob Anderson, because he's way too... He's either Bob Anderson, who's been using a lot of conditioner.
No, I'm just trying to find...
I'll tell you what, he has a bad guy nerd moment later, which is a moment for the ages, where he basically geeks out when he sees the Sword of Omens. It's the funniest thing. It's like he almost breaks character completely and goes, look, Dad, look what I've done. Look, I'm holding the Sword of Omens. Bless him. He does look good.
It's Anthony DeLongis.
Ah.
He normally has a quite luscious head of hair last time I saw him anything. And but he did a lot of work on Highlander, especially in the series, which is why that show is so highly regarded for its swordplay. But yeah, he's kind of one of those guys that if you want your fight scenes to look good, he's a safe bet.
This, by the way, is bordering on horror. This has a lot of tropes of horror. You've got young girl on her own. They're trying to kill her. In fact, some of the stuff is like, there's not much intention to just scare her. And the fact they're using the Beast guy as well, I suppose at the time there were so many of these horror schlock films that it was easy for them to lean into these kind of tropes.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that the costumes for bad guys are really
good.
they go places in how.
I mean, admittedly, one of them does look like an really old member of Kiss, but apart from that, the others are fantastic. By the
Fair.
way, He-Man is literally walking down people's street. Now, in the UK, you're allowed to. I think the American term for it is jaywalk, but
Hmm.
in the UK, you can walk along a road at night. If you're walking along a road at night in that costume, just holding what looks like a little compass, I think the police would be called a lot earlier.
I mean, let's be honest. If you were a cop and you pulled up and saw someone Dolph size dressed like that, you'd be like, "Yeah, whatever floats your boat, dude. Carry on."
Yeah, where's the party? I always wondered if should we just call them the robot costumes? Obviously, that it's kind of flexible, but I did wonder if they were like taken from another show. I just had that feeling. I know some of the props were used in other shows. I mean, props got moved. Let's face it,
I mean,
used a lot.
the thing is, the helmets they've got a lot of 1940s German army in their
There's a
design,
little bit
just
of Vader in
massively
there as
overly
well. Yeah.
flared. Oh yeah, there's a lot of Vader in there, a lot of that samurai in as well. I mean, you'd almost say they've got a little bit of they're not 1-to-1, but a bit of Kroll and
Oh yeah.
the troopers from that. But they do the job. They are excellent minions, though. And for this era, they're actually pretty involved costumes. I mean, I'd not be surprised if they were, in some ways, bits of Stormtrooper costumes in places.
I'm pretty sure that I've seen a fact, saying, "Oh, they were sprayed up and they were in the background for this film," and I've just forgotten. But then again, folks, I'm in a bit of a frazzled state, so I'm just happy that there are nice shiny lasers going off. It's
Yeah.
keeping me distracted. And Dolph's doing that thing as well where he holds the sword and he holds the gun and they're both stretched out so you can see his pecs. And they're doing that as much as possible. And clearly they knew their target audience,
Yeah.
which was very confused young boys and mothers who weren't too unreluctant to go. I mean, I don't know who would be the target audience for this, because the cartoon was kind of waning by the time this came out.
A little
And I
bit,
don't
yeah.
think adults would have. I don't know.
I mean, there's probably an argument it may have been trying for a little bit of... Because, I mean, Swords and Sorcery was still a decent market at this point.
Yeah.
There was still a place for it. And just to see something on the big screen was a bit of a novelty. Because it was more direct-to-video than anything else.
By the way, our swordsman gets genuinely upset when he loses his sword, which I like. I like the fact that he's genuine. And then He-Man throws his sword away, and that gives the villains obviously the opportunity to just nick the sword, because they can still do it. They've got plenty of time. They can nick the sword. It'll make their boss happy, but no, they run away. So you've got problems. I believe Teela as well was in. Oh, not Remington Steele. TJ? No, JT.
Chelsea Field.
She was in. So a very Magnum-esque style. Houston.
NCIS and NCIS New Orleans. That's the thing. She's married to Scott Bakula.
Really?
Yeah, and he's even said on occasion he's gone to shows and she's the one who's gotten attention from fans because she's not even been there for the thing. She's just been next to him at just checking him out. He was at a table and people have gone, "It's Teela," which is kind of cute, to be honest.
That is brilliant.
Oh, she was in Last Boy Scout.
Okay. I'm now going to frantically find out what else she was in that I've seen her in.
She was in Commando as well.
It's weird. Her costume is like 70% really, really good. It's also really, really like practical. It's good. It's just elements of it where they kind of lean into the 80s kind of. Okay, that doesn't work too well.
It is a win. I mean, They made a choice in this film that almost all the costumes were massively redesigned from what people would have recognised. Everyone's. I mean, Skeletor is probably most accurate because he has his staff and it looks like his staff, which is
brilliant.
But everything else got a full redesign, mainly because of the budget. Because if you doing those costumes in live action, I mean, I had to give credit to that film that's coming out, I think next year.
Yeah,
that's been shooting recently, because they've gone for accurate costumes, and honestly, they kind of look good.
a friend of mine, so someone from the let's just say Transformers world, was part of the team that made the props,
Oh,
and
nice.
I think she was kind of props and costumes. I need to ask more about her. I don't want to say too much because she's only told me a tiny amount, i.e., like a few hints to. They are trying to make it toy accurate and they are trying to be faithful, and that's all that she said. But her work is exceptional, and I kind of wish that I'm hoping that people just view it in a nice, fun way. I think they will, but it's one of those challenges, isn't it? They're never
It
quite.
is.
Fans tend to be very precious about this sort of stuff, and I do get that.
We're a
But
contrary bunch, let's be
the
honest.
fact is, most of those original fans, apart from the vocal ones, the vast majority are not going to see the film anyway, and you need a younger crowd. So don't worry about us old folks. Just appeal to the younger folks.
Absolutely. If it's a film that I could take my niece and nephew are 8 and 10. Oh, sorry, 10 and 8, I should say. If it's a film that I could take either one of them to see, I'll be over the moon. Hey, it's James Tolkien.
Yay!
The
Oh,
80s favourite figure.
and someone who finally gets a redemption arc in this film.
Hell yeah. We're so used to seeing him play kind of assholes in so many films. But here, Lubbock is an asshole, but he's an asshole for a reason. He's going with the evidence. Everything that he's seen is sounding. Let's be honest, you wouldn't believe what this kid's telling you if you were a cop.
No, that's true.
And his arc in this film is actually kind of cool. I do dig it, to be fair.
Yeah, this is kind of, I hate to say it, this is almost a fantasy arc for someone our age now.
Yeah.
We do our job, we deal with idiots, we then take a stand, and then we get a reward, which is probably the one thing that's really out of place in this entire
I've just
film.
realised what
And
it
feels
is.
really bad.
You know what happens to him at the end of this film?
Yes.
He's basically isekai'd.
Oh no.
He is.
By the way, I realized I'd mixed up Tila with another actress, but I think I did see her in Airwolf once. So
That wasn't her filmography. Down listed as brunette in Airwolf.
brunette, that would do it. Yeah, it's because at the time as well, a lot of these shows would have. Well, let's face it, the A team would always have it. Face would normally have some sort of romantic interest for the episode, and so a lot of these actresses that then became big in the 90s started out with these single one and done episodes. So you had Night, and if you did Airwolf, you did Knight Rider, you did A Team, you did probably Dukes of Hazzard, you did all these one-off appearances, and then you'd hopefully build it into some sort of movie career. Though, and it's barely mentioned here, but Tila does give some sass to He-Man for rocking up with what appears to be a young girl.
Yeah.
And it's really quick, and I'm just like, oh, that's good. Because there was always that thing of, did Tila like Prince Adam, or did Tila like He-Man?
Well,
And of
vice
course,
versa as well. But this film plays it much more. It plays it much more that they don't have the time to worry about that.
Speaking of odd romantic moment, I love the fact that Evil Lyn is subservient to Skeletor in this very weird, intimate way, just for a moment. And they are really pissed. Both of them are really pissed when it gets interrupted.
Mm.
Again, Evil Lynn, smartest person in the film, folks. Just trying to get a job done. Just trying to do what she's trying to do.
It's just Meg Foster's eyes. You can't look away.
And yeah, for those who don't realize, so there was meant to be a special effect. She was meant to wear special eyeglass things to make her eyes look funky and cool, and then she would just wear the costume. In the end, what they did was they went, no, that's her real eyes. They really look that good.
Yeah.
But they did, unfortunately, they did tweak with the costume, which is why she looks so puffy, because they really went kind of enhance it here, here, and here, which is a very 80s thing. Though, again, it's kind of like Tila. Tila, the only problem that Tila had with the costume was the way that they strapped up her butt, basically. And she then looked like she was running around in pajama bottom. And with Evil Lynn, they kind of did that same thing here. The nice thing is, Evil Lynn never had to do a lot of physical fighting, so she just got to act. So you very quickly ignored the rest of the costume and just the face, which of course Meg is brilliant at portraying. And I think maybe she was harmed by the fact her eyes look so distinctive, because she was only ever then cast for the more fantastical genre stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I just had a quick look at her IMDb and just a brief look at some of the just stills of her, and you'd think, if you need someone to play someone alien or someone or an android, just from a visual point of view, her eyes, and it does her a disservice because she's also a bloody good actress. Let's not forget, because she's had I mean, she's still working today, from what I've seen.
She definitely does the conventions. She does remind me of some of the older Hammer actors. So when you see them, obviously they are old. I mean, they are old. But by the way, this is when Skeletor loses the film. That look from Evil Lynn, that's the scariest thing in this film. He's already lost. He has completely lost. Anyway, I think at that age as well, I think you do a lot of cameos. You do a lot of stuff that you'll cast because it's stunt casting, because it's remember berries. But I'm sure I've seen her as well at conventions, and I think it's very much similar to the Hammer horror actresses in the UK conventions, but they don't get like a massive amount of business. They don't storm Comic Cons, but a lot of dedicated fans turn up for them, look out for them, and still support, which is great.
Absolutely. And
I'm sorry, I've got to say before I forget, look at the top of that machine and tell me that's not the thing that the Predator fires out of its little wrist-mounted attachment things.
Yeah, that would not surprise me either. I should also point back when we had the gang doing their first assault on the high school.
Which, by the way, we completely ignored. Remember, folks, we are not really watching the film, but we do occasionally remember that we are meant to be watching it.
Yeah. I meant to mention the size of the darts that Blade shot after Courtney's character were fucking huge. They weren't going to knock her out. That was
he's a guy. His only weakness is airport metal detectors. His entire body is just metal.
Yes, he's never heard the word overkill. He doesn't believe in it.
Have you just seen what? Have you just seen what our cop is wearing? Look at his tie. He's got a tie clip. He's got a tie clip, and the tie clip is a little pair of handcuffs that move around.
Hilarious.
There's a man. I'm sorry. People are saying he's clearly dedicated to his job.
Oh yeah.
Oh, another thing for folks, just to again put you in the, so in terms of musical influences at the time in the 80s, synthesizers were a big deal. Like you barely see them now. You see one guy maybe on a live tour doing synthesizers, or maybe retro you see a couple, but synthesizers were everything. And it really was the case that to a lot of people you would just go, well, it's clearly made in China, so it's got to be better than our stuff. Now, who's playing Evil Lynn in the new movie? It's on the top of my head. She's married to the Franco brother. They're in together at the moment.
Alison Brie.
Cinema. Yeah, she's playing Evil Lynn. I wonder, would they give her contacts to match Meg? Because that would be a really simple homage. that the fans would love?
That's a good question. Is something
Uh,
I could if they went for it, I could kind of see it either way. All right, there's three options.
okay.
Keep her eyes as is,
Yep.
give her the contacts, or
Yep.
they do a post-viz thing. That's probably
Ooh.
going to be the most obvious option to go for, as it's less difficult for the actor.
Yep.
But I'm going to be intrigued. Oh, lordy, I'm just looking at some of James Purvoy as King Randor. I didn't realise that.
Mm.
Anuma Baccarin is playing the sorceress, and Idris Elba is Man-At-Arms.
Which is absolutely makes sense.
Oh yeah, I mean he just needs to do what he did as Heimdall. If he gives us more than that, then we'll go even
I
better.
I
But,
want him to lean into that fake British gangster accent though.
oh
I
god,
really do. And yes, folks. Sorry, most of us don't talk. Most of us don't talk like that. But when we need to, most of us can do a gangster voice. And although it's not authentic, you totally believe it because you've got nothing to compare it with. And Idris Elba is just like the master of doing that. So he'll be
he's
great.
made it his bread and butter. He really has.
Oh, do you think?
It's a skill.
Do you think he'll go with a moustache?
Ooh. I mean, it's very rare to find him clean shaven nowadays.
Maybe as well for a pure homage, he dyes it ginger. There's a man that really sacrifices for his art. I
Absolutely.
can't stop looking at those little. You just see them only
The
occasionally.
prongs are
No, the little cufflinks that are sat on the front of his tie, and you'll see that you'll just get little glimpses of them, and they're like shaking around. I'm like, how come you gave up that fashion in the Eternia at the end of the film for a robe? I mean, come on, man. That fair play to them. They did try and get some of the vehicles in here, and when it came to shooting them, they did. They actually managed to do them justice.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, in this era, special effects, anything like that on trying to do it as a plate is always going to have moments of, that's. But it's not half bad, and it does also help that.
Considering as well, they literally had no money. I mean,
Oh yeah,
they really struggled with this.
I mean they put the money into so many of the costumes and pieces of equipment, and it works because that does to do a lot to sell things.
Evelyn does barely even threatens him. She's just methodical. She's by the book. She's just getting on with stuff. There's no drama. Again, Evelyn, why are you not running this film? Why are you not in charge? Why is this not Evelyn, Mistress of the Universe?
I mean, I think they've always pictured it. She'd never wanted the hassle of being the one who's actually in charge.
Well,
She's always settled for being the power behind the throne. But she just gets to a point where it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I putting up with this?
So
Which,
this film came out. So this was one of a series of, as you said at the start, the Canon films had a lot of mistakes, and unfortunately, their mistakes were very expensive mistakes. They got into some bad business arrangements. Things did not go well. They had some success, and then they poured all the money from that and more into things that didn't. The big things being for them the double whammy of this film and Superman 4, The Quest for
yeah.
Peace, which is one of the saddest films. It is a bad film, but nowadays I think its legacy is more marred by the fact that the that Christopher Reeve desperately tried to do the film.
Oh
They
yeah.
did everything they could to try and help that film. I think he once went on Wogan and he begged people to see the film. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just so difficult. And again, by the end of this film as well, there is stuff shot with a couple of willing sparks and the director, a cameraman, and the actors, and that's pretty much it. And that was just so they could get the film finished. And it wasn't the worst film. And again, by today's standards, I think this is really good because
Oh yeah.
today's scripts are shocking in comparison.
Oh yeah. I mean, this it does put the effort into coming up with reasons. How did we get to Earth? What's the MacGuffin they're all looking for? How did Skeletor win? What can we do to? It puts the time in. So you at the start, it's very efficient. Grayskull's been captured. Sorcerer's imprisoned. Skeletor's got the key. He-Man and Teela and Man-At-Arms are on the run. Let's go from there. It's brutally efficient writing to get us to that point. And I
You
was just
realize,
looking at it. It
go on.
grossed 17 million worldwide against a budget
Okay.
of 22 million.
Okay.
22 million in 1987 was not a small budget,
No.
we should point out. But 17 million isn't a bad take either. It's just not enough.
Yeah. You want your home video. Then again, though, let's be honest. Had home video hit its stride at this point? I think it had.
It had. I don't think this was a. I don't remember this one being because of Canon's problems as well.
Oh,
I
did it?
don't.
It might not have even made it out of there.
I mean, I remember seeing it at the cinema, so I certainly saw it on there.
D,
I know it
D,
had.
D. Sorry, D. Look at Man-At-Arms the helmet, top and center. That looks like half of an Aquila. It's like one bird head, not two.
I mean, there is something very Arbites about his headgear.
See,
Once the
folks,
visor,
there's
once the
there's always
visor
a
comes
plan.
down,
I am the law.
I mean, I must confess, from time to time I've wondered about doing a Dark Elder army based on Skeletor's horde.
Oh,
Because let's be honest, it's right there. He even
well,
has dudes on hoverboards.
what about Chaos Dwarfs in the form of Gwildor?
Oh, that
Should we talk about Gwildor? Just for those uninitiated, who is Gwildor?
Gwildor is basically the Orko stand-in for this film. I remember when I went to see this, I was like, "Where's Orko?" Because Orko, the hapless court wizard, was kind of one of the key pillars of that cartoon,
Yeah.
alongside Cringer or Battlecat, who we don't see either. But he's also a very alien character, so they came up with Gwildor, played by I think Barry Barty.
Yes.
Yep, a famous dwarf actor from the time, and it's weird. He got a lot of hate. The character. I think they did do characters from the film for the main Massive Universe line. I think they did do Gwildor, but he wasn't touched until the second Kevin Smith show a few years ago, where they actually teamed him and Orko up, which was quite
Good.
fun. He's kind of a bit of a do what you need character, because he does kind of like come up with solutions out of his ass,
Yes.
which is fun. But he's also quite.
He's game. I think he's
He
game
is.
for everything. I think the actor went for it, and I think
Oh,
yes,
absolutely.
he got the blame. I mean, I wouldn't say he's the Jar Jar character. I just
No, not
think
at all.
because he wasn't what people wanted, but at the same time, how on earth could this film do Orko? Like just the physics of the guy, unless it was like a beach ball filled with helium with a red
Yeah.
robe, and also there's let's just say there are some other features that I think would make Orko particularly painful to watch nowadays. God, that vehicle looks good.
It does,
Even though
doesn't
it's
it?
just parked there, they do this through the film as well. You'll see it moving, which is obviously just the camera moving the other way. But everyone just, they just sell it. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. So Orko is not there. Billy Barton is there. It's It does the job. And
It
he's
does.
acting through a ton of prosthetics.
Oh, this is a big old makeup job, this. And the thing is, he's not your typical... It's easy to think of him as a comedy character. He's
He's
not.
not.
The film's actually very clear from the start that he's got a lot of guilt
Yeah.
because he built the key and skeleton. He gave it to Skeletor unwittingly.
And also Tila keeps threatening to kill him and then smiles at him and then threatens to kill him 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
He's living it. Yeah, there's a lot of close-ups on his face with the prosthetics, and it works every time.
There is. But he's also... I love how his character is very... With Robbie Neal's character, the two of them have this wonderful rapport.
Yes.
And that he encourages Robbie's character to...
Master student.
Yeah. And I look... It's also great that the detective is not a complete git about everything. As soon as he understands the score, he's on board.
So you've mentioned that Arbeites thing, and now the shield.
Oh, and he's got a shotgun.
And it's so good. I think I might have to get a model. And now, as I say this, I know Andy Cobra Commander is going, "What? You're actually going to attempt to paint a second figure?" I was like, "Yes, I might do," and I might do I can't even say the word right. Arbites as Man-At-Arms, but I'm sure it's been done. I'm sure. Let's face it, the figures have been painted as multiple other genres multiple times by people.
Oh yeah.
So.
I mean, I can actually, looking at it now, I could probably, maybe not from what I have to hand. He says, looking at the negative space, it needs feeding, but I can actually think off the top of my head of how to do a little inquisitorial warband, say a Warhammer Quest team, based around He-Man and the characters from this film. So He-Man, Teela, Duncan, Gwildor, even for quotation marks, human characters, because God, there's been some good human kits in civic kits in recent years. But I can think of a few ways to do that. To be fair,
yeah,
I don't need another project. I've got too many on go as it is.
I know it's like asking you. So, have you got any of these lying around? Oh, I think I've got some of these somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, the modern Arbite kit is quite nice.
I've just realised I think Teela loses some of her gems throughout the filming. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I suspect continuity may have been a minor concern at certain points in production.
The only thing I find weird about the filming of this is that I think she is the one actor who is not familiar with holding a gun. She's very much like she's not used to it, which is a shame because I think she's the actor that would be most believable to just throw a punch.
I mean, I love her delivery of "Woman at Arms."
Yes,
that was always that's one of those lines that, if anything from the film's going to get a cheer, it'll be that.
Oh, could you? Do they do anniversary screenings of this?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, it has become a bit of a cult film now. It's much more highly regarded than it was.
Oh, I would love if they did that. Could you imagine just you see, I'm surprised actually that they don't do something like there's like they do a screening of the classic film and then one of the actors from the new film turns up and goes, here, you get to see the new film. I don't know how well that would go down, but it's one of the things. I also, you looked at the cast list. Have any of the old cast got nods in the new film?
That's a good question.
Like, I'm surprised that Dolph wouldn't get a nod at least.
There's nothing listed at the moment.
They might sneak him in because they
might do.
I mean, got to do something. Like he would make a good old King of Eternia.
I mean, Meg Foster did do some voice work in the Kevin Smith show as a computer.
Okay, that's cool.
I mean, Dolph. I mean, he was in the Aquaman movies. as a character who, well,
Pretty much the same thing. It was like
would have
yeah.
walked. Yeah, I mean, if they were to have it, it could be a fun little nod to have him maybe play. Oh, what's his name? One of the things they've gotten to in Massive Universe now is that He-Man is not the first champion. There have been others down through the ages, and there was an original one, and I can't
Okay.
remember what his name is off the top of my head.
It's
But
not
that could
something
be.
weird like U-Man or Ur-Man or something. Like
They
really.
get MOTU names do get real weird real quick, so
Mm.
it's quite possible. But I mean, it's one of those things that I'd love it if that was the case. Don't know if it will be, but you never know. I'm
Well,
sure they've got it in mind.
oh yeah, they'll have something in mind. I mean, they're hoping for this to kick off a whole new, I suppose. Well, like the franchise never went away, but it's always been a legacy franchise. So it's like it's
Yeah.
back for fans of the original who are now in their 40s and 50s. Whereas they want this to be right. Let's get the kids involved. Though I don't know how many kids even like these sort of things.
Yeah, I mean that's the trick, isn't it? Because so many of who is he of these shows and films been made for?
Yeah, who's buying toys? Who cares about a feature length when you can watch 300 TikToks?
Yeah.
And that's not a nod. I found out, by the way, folks. Here's an interesting fact. I found out my father, who is, let's just say, not in the greatest of health, and not a young guy considering how old I am. Okay, I find out now that he and his missus spend about an hour and a half watching Facebook stories each night. And I was
Ah,
like,
yeah.
you have become. I'm sorry. When age groups of that age are also doing the kind of shuffle and just looking at that stuff, there's no hope for movies because it's like ingrained. It's why
Yeah.
it is a challenge and why a lot of these films, if Masters of the Universe is gonna do well, it needs to have stuff that is tweetable and TikTokable and storyable and
Mm.
memeable and all sorts.
I mean, it has a fantastic cast.
Yeah,
I'm kind of hoping that goes some way towards getting us a decent nod of things. I mean, it's coming out at a decent time. June next year is its estimated release date.
yeah.
That's a good slot.
As long as I don't think there's too much around it, but he says, completely oblivious to the fact that Marvel might be putting out stuff around that time. But
I mean,
honestly, a new franchise, at least it has more of a hope than because the other franchise has so much against it. Star Wars, they put something out as there's issues with certain elements of the fandom. Trek, there's issues. I
yeah,
I know for a fact that elements of the He-Man Masters of the Universe fandom can be very toxic. Now, let me
yeah,
clarify straight away on that one, in that they have, for the most amount of time, they've had very little material to work with. So their fandom is based around facts that they very much hold to, and they don't like much in the way of discussion. I've heard this before. So when a new version comes out, they don't like it unless it's exactly like what they like. However,
yeah.
I
It is.
also helped out. I don't know if people even realize this. There was a Masters of the Universe Action Force and Transformers show, which was one of the
Oh,
variants of the shows that Dave Tree did. So think Roll Out Roll Call, but there was a
okay.
Masters of the Universe themed one. And I went along and helped out at that one. It was really nice. It was down in Southampton. And I remember going into one of the back rooms whilst we were setting up, and I found what was at the time the prototype for the brand new Grayskull set.
Ooh,
And they had all of the prototypes for the action figures. And a lot of them were so prototype that they were actually hand carved and painted. And this thing had just been left in the back room with no one looking over it. And people had almost forgotten it was there. And it had been sat there for hours. and I was like, if the wrong person had seen this, the whole lot would have been nicked. And I had to
Yeah.
go back into the room and tell people. But when people saw it, and I thought it was beautiful because it was the perfect recreation but upgrade of what you used to have. But people were like, oh yeah, but it doesn't have like the mold line here like the old figure used to. And I'm like, come on, guys. Allow something
Yeah.
to upgrade. It's like this vehicle that we're seeing at the moment. It is not the old vehicle. It is a better version. They're shooting the hell out of it. They're making it look really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got any knowledge of film, you can see how they're cheating.
Mm.
And you can also see where things are, the budget is not there to get the effect that they really wanted. But God, do they give it their all? They try so hard, bless them.
Oh, they're using all sorts of things. They're using like even down to the little skimming vehicles, which by the way, they did better than Highlander 2.
It's not hard to do something better than Highlander 2, though. And I
Well,
say that as
that's
someone who
true.
has a lot of fondness for that franchise.
It's possibly the silliest part of the scene because you know as well, like local residents will be like, "Oh, it's just LA. It's fine. Just
Yeah.
stay inside. Don't make any noise. That'll be fine." We find some suspicious-looking alien tech. Oh, it's just cosplay. Leave it. It's fine.
I love how the metal door just bounces off of Dolfo.
Yeah, he's a strong dude, and with one hand he's pushing it back against to stop it falling forward again. Meanwhile, they've run out of the proper robot kits for the guy on the little hoverboards, so they just gave them some motorcycle gear that they managed to nick from a shop.
But it still works. It does what it needs to do.
It's really well shot, this film, and that's the thing. They're like it's no surprise that when it gets to the end scene, and let's face it, I think a lot of people know this now, that they're just the really slapdash way they had to shoot this, and it's just a couple of people like making the end of this film because they just didn't have the money. But you can tell why, like, the camera team was still there and part of that process, because the camera team do a fantastic job. And these scenes, by the way, they are lighting they are lighting hundreds of meters of street at night with smoke. That is not cheap. That is expensive.
Yeah.
They have got some big sodding lights here. This is a big production. And the stuff with Dolph with the background, really nicely done. Some of the stuff is back screen protection, fine. But some of the stuff is just really good. Like, it's clearly live action. They've got him on top of a car, and Dolph's just surfing the car and trying not to look scared. Speaking of scared, Evil Lynn does actually get scared when she fails. It's lovely to see a bad guy who's genuinely fearful. And she kind of gets away with it. But
I mean, it helps that we've seen Skeletor actually off one of his minions.
Yes.
And not just one of the faceless mooks. He's off one of the named henchmen.
Yeah.
Even if it was one they created for the film, that's still kind of a big deal to this sort of movie.
Oh, by the way, everyone is on board now because He-Man has had an injury to his shoulder. That was the default injury for action men in a film. Now, he will get over it straight away, even though he's been shot, but it is acceptable because it's a nice acceptable place for you to see blood. I'm going to put it to you now, D, because it's just popped into my head. Stallone, Schwarzenegger, or Lundgren, or Willis, I think that Dolph makes the best He-Man.
I think so. Dolph, for one thing, all the others have things about them that would mean that you couldn't believe it. Bruce was never that big a guy. That wasn't his deal. He was the everyman. He could, when he wanted to, he could be in great shape, but that was never his appeal as an action star. Arnie, it's a fact he's Arnie. You can't get away from that. That colours everything. Yep. Even when he's fully committed, he's still Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know you're watching an Arnold performance. Stallone is probably one of the best actors of action movie stars. But he's also, because of what makes him Sly Stallone, because he had that stroke that is what gives him his distinctive
Mm.
facial expressions, his distinctive voice. That limits him.
Yeah.
And whereas Dolph, it probably helped also that this was kind of his big break after Rocky.
Yeah.
Dolph. This was his leading man role. So he does commit to it. I mean, I read an interview where he's far more glowing about this film than probably it deserves, to be fair. But he's 100% on board with it, and I don't think a lot of action actors would be able to do that as well as he does.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's kind of a shame he never got to return to the role, but this film doesn't. This is quite a good one and done movie, though,
Yeah.
in its own right. So it's not needed. But
Though there was a plan for a sequel.
was there? Huh.
Yeah. So I mean, the start. This was originally meant to take place on Eternia. Then there were other scenes as well where they talked. There was going to be King Randor in this. There was going to be the link to Earth established. There were going to be extra scenes. I think there are scenes on the internet of an extended goodbye sequence as well.
Oh wow.
So some things have slipped out, but yeah, there's bits, and then they had straight away. They were going to do like Revenge of Skeletor, whatever it was. They were going to do a follow up to this because, of course, this film has a post credits stinger, which was very rare at the time, and in fact so rare that most people never even realized it existed, including me for the longest time.
I mean,
By the way,
I saw it on the big screen. It scared the bejesus out of me.
By the way, this is one of the few times that we are a chunk of the way through the film. This is technically the first time that He-Man is fighting in front of Skeletor, and Skeletor just goes, "No, stop, surrender, I've won." They don't actually fight.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant twist on everything. There's lots of little twists here. Like He-Man, surrenders. And it's the intelligent move from him, but it's also the intelligent move from Skeletor. So
But
clearly Skeletor didn't think about it. It was all evil inside here.
Yeah. But it does speak I mean, one of the things about He-Man as a character is that he's not just a muscle-bound barbarian. The whole point is that he is supposed to be... He's basically Shazam in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of that to his DNA. Actually, think about it, there's a lot of that.
And also, it helps that Skeletor is being really sassy here. I mean, so sad. There's loads of sarcasm coming out here. he's having a ball. It's just like, Frank, just sit there. You don't have to do anything all day. Don't worry, we'll get you cups of tea and everything. Just be a bit of a bitch.
I mean, you almost wish because Mark Hamill voices Skeletor in the most recent show.
Yeah.
You kind of would have loved to have had both of them doing voice work together, because that could have just been beautiful.
Did they ever star in a project together?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm going to search for this now. There we go, folks. This is what your intrepid team are doing whilst they should be talking about the film.
But, I mean, this is a great moment because the bad guys have won about as decisively as you can do.
Yep.
At this point. I mean, they've got the key. They've taken He-Man with them. They've left our other three Eternians behind. They've poisoned off Courtney's character.
Mm-hmm.
It's all gone a bit to pot, to put it mildly. Meanwhile, of course, the LAPD have showed up way too late.
Ooh. Okay, this is interesting. So Langella and Hamill were both hired for the Netflix series Fall of House of Usher, but Langella was fired from the project due to misconduct allegations.
Oh.
Which is weird because of his age. I would be very surprised. I mean, maybe it's something he said, but
Hmm.
I don't think that's the case.
Interesting.
And yeah, but there we go. So there's never actually been a project that featured
Huh.
them both, and that might also be the reason why he's not featured in anything since. He doesn't.
Hmm.
And I'm not making any aspersions about the actor. I'm just saying maybe he just doesn't want to be done with all this stuff.
That's quite possible. So, uh,
They're really nice moments though. You think about this film, it's a series of sets. You've got the
hmm.
throne room. You've got a bit of desert rock, which covers for Eternia multiple times. You see the same people moving the same prisoner 3 times in this film. I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
You have the throne room, which is the rest of Eternia. Then you have a music shop, a prom, a rooftop, and a house. And I think that's it on a junkyard.
Yeah.
It's if you were to just say, "Oh, we're having a Masters of the Universe film. Where's it set?" They'd be the last places you think would be the key things. And this film really does. I'm thinking some of this must have been shot in the backlot because I get real vibes of Back to the Future from this,
Oh
and I
yeah.
don't know why.
It does give you that feel that I mean, you don't have any. The odds of them actually having the money to shut down a street is probably pretty low, to be
Mm,
fair, given how tight this budget was. But if you told me that it was shot on all the backlot sets, I mean, seriously, so much of this is generic Americana.
oh yeah,
It it has to have been for, especially stuff like this, or how they had to replicate it in the throne room later on. You wanted something that was a snapshot of an actual.
yeah. You wanted to see almost the relics and the highest and the lowest of a different culture. And
Hmm.
I suppose they also tell a bit through the costumes because the costumes are very nice. Like Gwildor's is this lovely embroidered
Oh
fabric
yeah.
and it's beautiful. I did always the one bit I didn't find too believable. I'm somebody that can remember tunes, and
Hmm.
although I can't play, if you gave me a piano, give me 5 minutes, I'd check out the keys and I'd tell you what the tune was on the piano. So to me, Kev remembering the tune, well, after I'd not watched this for 20 years, I could still remember the damn tune. It was like, come on, this is ability all humans have. But Man-At-Arms is like, my God, boy, if you don't remember this tune, we're all screwed. Including the sorceress. The sorceress, by the way, hired for this film, Christina Pickles, I believe,
Yeah.
got the script, thought, oh, I get to be the sorceress. Apparently, I'm in throughout the film, so that means I get to do a lot. I'm sorry, Christina, you don't get to do a lot. You get to stand there. You get to stand there looking smug and young, then slightly worried and older, then really old and decrepit, and then super young and smug again. And
Yeah.
that's it.
It it's a real shame.
Then
To be
again,
fair.
though, didn't the sorceress have that as well? I think she was quite
Um.
a bystander
A bit.
in
Yeah. I
this.
mean, her whole deal is that she was like
Oh,
for.
oh, oh, oh.
Oh.
Sorry. Watch out for Guy nerding out over the fact that he's holding the Sword of Omens. It's very, very quick. Very, very quick. You've probably seen it by now. It's when he shoves it in the little containment thing or something. He just holds it up and goes, "Look, Daddy, I've got a sword." And also, Pig Boy was a member of the public who won a competition, but you guys know that already.
I just keep thinking it's an Ugnaught every time I see it.
Yeah, it was a kid. He won a prize to star in the film, and that was the only thing that they had left because I think they were running out of time to do the film. I
I
think it
mean,
was
let's
almost
be
a Blue
honest.
Peter type thing.
I mean, if you told any kid you can be in a film, you have to wear this mask and it'll be a brief scene, they'd probably still be over the moon.
Hey, you get Skeletor to walk past you. That would
Yeah.
scare the crap out of me. That would be so good.
And Frank's just going full ham right now.
Ah,
It's great.
oh, sorry. I'm now fixated on waiting for the guy to do the sword thing. Sorry, I'm sorry, listeners.
It's understandable. It's quite a funny moment when you stop and think about it. Uh,
I might have to just make sure that I add the proper still in this film and just like focus, like zoom in just on his expression. For the final 10 minutes of the film, I don't move
Oh,
on
here
any
we go.
further. It's like sword porn.
Yeah.
Oh
And if
no, I don't know if it was at that point. I think it's when he walks in. I'm sorry, listeners. I will put it on the track. This will be the
the
one
thing is,
edit that I do.
it is actually a pretty decent take on the Sword of Power.
It is.
It's not an easy thing to do because the classic design is a really odd design for a sword anyway.
Yes.
But this take where they've kept the stylistic fluting around the quillions and whatnot. They kept the essence of the design, but just made it into a bloody huge.
A practical sword that at least you can use.
Yeah, well, you can use if you're Dolph Lundgren. Anyone
Yeah.
else would. I have more than a few blades, as I mentioned in the past, and when you hold a real sword, you can tell you can tell very quickly a good sword, because a good one, even the biggest swords, they've got a balancing that makes them a lot easier to wield. Ones like that though, where it's just a
Yep.
big honking block of steel. Yeah, you kind of need to be Dolph Lundgren to do anything with it, frankly, because it's just nuts.
I'd say the one weak link in this film is the whip. It just feels a little bit like they were struggling with the animation by this point. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is where our put upon cop, I think, is the start of his arc, because when other cops don't believe him, and he's just trying to do his job, you're like, but he is right, and so suddenly
Yeah.
that's where the audience starts to shift. I wonder if the actor actually got some positivity after this, because this was before Back to the Future? I think. Oh no,
No, this was after. It was after Top Gun, after Back to the Future.
was it before Back to the Future 3?
Yes, I think it. Yeah, 2 and 3 were shot back to back. So yeah.
Because 3 was again, he has a cameo, and it's far more of a he's just a lawman, he's a good guy. I'd like to think that played a part. I know it didn't, but I'd like to think it did. I just want this film to have some legacy.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, it did give us, for a lot of people, even if we've forgotten, it was our first introduction to these two.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's funny that these two ended up doing so well, even though, because the film kind of, it didn't sink the careers of everyone else, but it didn't help them. Dolph obviously went on to other things. Then there was Johnny Mnemonic, because I'm contractually obliged to mention Johnny Mnemonic. But let's face it, I mean, yeah, I don't think there was ever a double bill of Masters of the Universe and Johnny Mnemonic. Can you imagine showing that to someone and going, "See, I told you Dolph has range."
Oh man, but don't give me ideas for a watch along, please.
Oh, that would be so good.
Because I would do that if given half a chance. Maybe for Christmas, I'll do that for Christmas Eve.
Because what you can tell people is that his street preacher character is actually He-Man, who got banished, lost his mind, and he's trying to remain young whilst saving himself for Evil Lynn. God, Frank Langella's like dental prosthetics.
Oh, yeah, those
really
fangs,
good.
they do the job.
They're really subtle as well, and it's because you forget, like, the Skeletor is obviously, I mean, he makes mistakes, which is why he looks the way he does. But yeah, it's a pretty terrifying makeup job.
Oh yeah.
I kind of wish, though, that America's Finest, like a large group of cops, had tried to fight the Italian, because that would have been hilarious.
That could have been quite funny.
And you could see that becoming a real issue. Like, then America
yeah.
would be like all against these. What you're saying? We were invaded? Yes. By robots? Yes. Who was in charge? A guy with a skull for a face, and he had a ram's head on a stick. Okay. You know what? I actually forgot how toy accurate that staff is.
Yeah,
It is pretty good.
it's a good bit of prop work, isn't it?
Has anyone? Somebody must have done like movie replica props of this.
I don't know. I can't remember seeing anything.
I'll
to
tell
that
you what.
effect.
If anyone turned up to a Comic-Con dressed as one of these characters, I would officially lose it. So bad. And I'm not saying an evil Link character. My heart couldn't take that. But just a Skeletor walking around. I could actually do a Skeletor. Oh,
Ooh.
there's an idea. By the way, there's an element of Necron as well about Skeletor's costume at times. They're kind of little chain links. I'm saying that as my desperate plea to try and make this relevant to 40k.
I mean,
It's Man-At-Arms, goddammit. It's fine.
I mean, honestly, the pillars of Grayskull behind him with their inscriptions, the whole ancient world that, I mean, the whole point is that Eternia is literally the center of the universe. Whoever controls it controls the direction of the universe. That's the gist, folks. If anyone, they did a very bad job of explaining that in some of the fan versions of the show, but that's the basic gist.
I would love it if the throne was the golden throne, but
that would be quite funny.
But one thing I appreciated when watching the film for the stills version is that Skeletor loses Evil Lyn the moment he gets the powers. In fact, his build up to the powers when he says, "I'm a god, I don't care about you," that you literally see her eyes like flick off in terms of support.
Yeah, but I love how she's the one character who doesn't flinch from his apotheosis. She's watching without any blinking right through his transformation. Everyone else is being blown away.
Everyone else is, what on earth is going on? I mean, it is an odd costume as well because it's so heavily built up around his skull, but the rest of it is actually quite underbaked, and he seems a bit top heavy because of it.
Yeah, it is a bit of a. It's got a lot of flair to it, shall we say?
Can you imagine if Lubbock had just shot them here, like just killed all of them, and then a bunch of.
Imagine if he shot them and then they appeared in the throne room. And he's like,
yeah, dead bodies. It would just like be. I needed pause.
them. It's a hell of a bit of headgear, though.
It is. It's like, again, that's the thing you could wear for Comic-Con. You could just wear a business suit and it would be enough. But it is. It's like, do you remember in Batman Dread, Judgment on Gotham? And Judge Death appears and he kind of makes a costume out of a box of scraps, but stuff that he can get. I think there's a dead bird in there somewhere. But over the course of like the adventure, Death's costume sort of morphs. And occasionally you even see the dead bird winking at like the audience. And I kind of get the feeling that there's the big golden, very weird, slightly familiar golden eagle on the back of Skeletor's helmet. And you just see the wings each side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this a corrupted emperor? Is this what it could mean?
I mean, they did have the whole thing where in the Siege of Terror books, they leaned into the whole Dark King idea. That was a big thing right through to the penultimate book.
Yeah.
It was kind of fascinating how they delved into that, to be fair, with the idea, if Dark King going to be Horus, is it going to be the Emperor? The gods of Chaos don't care. They just want either or.
And in times of darkness, a hero will rise, and he will have a shaved head because that's what real men have.
I love that. Actually, our two main heroes with guns are firing shotguns in essence, because Duncan's gun is basically a sci-fi shotgun, which I love.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I mean. I'll tell you what, I'm amazed they don't grab some beers, get a pickup, and go for a road trip after this. I mean, they are manly men. Why not do it? Skeletor's busy killing all of his own men. Some of the worst aiming going.
I know. You know what? I'd love to have a what if with Skeletor versus Emperor Palpatine.
Ooh.
Unlimited power. Power fist.
That would be good. Yeah, I like
The
that.
snark.
But all of this is going on, by the way, on a set which is beautiful and really does have some pretty big drops. Like there's one
Yeah.
or two scenes where you do see the padding and the stuff underneath. But all these people were running around on sets where if you fell off, it was like a 12-foot drop. And a lot of these guys obviously then go over. And you have set pieces that I wouldn't have thought even a film that was 12 million could afford.
Yeah.
After this film, by the way, He-Man canonically gets prosecuted for damage to property and destroying at least one. And because of him actually accidentally knocking down what he didn't realize was a pillar, the entire Castle Grayskull then suffered from subsidence for many years before it was dismantled.
I do kind of love that Lynn and Dragoon just peace out.
Yes.
But it's not. Skeletor's not even losing at this point, but they still go, no, we're out of here.
She knows it's going to end badly, and even if he wins, he's just going to be it's like bad management. So the real challenge, I suppose, Dolph was always going to have, and it's the same challenge that the new actor's going to have, is that they have to say the line.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy line to get away with. I
It
don't know anyone who can say it without sounding like a bit of an idiot.
Yeah, it's a bit of a meme, isn't it?
Is this where he comes out with, tell me, He-Man, is the loneliness of winning the same as the loneliness of like the good or loneliness of bad? Or he comes out with some weird random stuff here.
Yeah, I forgot that the lighting just goes bonkers for this.
Right. So, did you know about this part, D, and the story behind it?
Is this the bit where there's basically no one left on the crew?
Right. There's no money. They shut the film down, and so the director actually grabbed a couple of the crew who were willing, and they came in, and the actors who were willing, and they came in at the weekend, and they lit this, and because they only had a couple of lights, because the rest of the lighting had been shut down, and they just shot this over a weekend, and they just made this shit up. They literally made this up.
And the thing is, I can't imagine it going any better than this. To be fair, it's hard. It goes hard.
And even things like you can tell, like the lighting, it's just not as polished because they don't have fill and they're struggling with grain. And even like you can tell Frank's makeup isn't quite as good, and they do everything they can, but it works, but it's good. It's a nice gritty ending to a film.
Yeah,
but also you probably saw it there as well. It's like at one point the hood comes off, then it's on again, then he falls, and then there's all sorts of stuff, and it's like it gets a little bit loose. But by the end of it, it's kind of a weird trip. You don't know what you're seeing, and the fact that at some point he then stands up and suddenly all the lighting comes back on.
Yeah.
And
it's a nicely crowd pleasing moment, you know.
Yeah.
And it works. The thing is, like you said, by no stretch is this a bad film in terms of the actual scripting and the plotting. It actually does a lot more than most modern films of much lower budgets than this do. So,
and it's a story of hope.
Yeah.
And Lubick gets given a woman to say thank you for his service. And I've never understood that. He literally gets given a woman.
Yeah, it's an odd choice. But
it's the thing. I was watching it. I was like, this would fare fine today. There wouldn't be a problem with that. Gets to that one end moment, and I'm like, okay, maybe there's a bit of an issue. But it's weird because I think that it's like the scene where they're all walking up. You can see Courtney and Dolph just walking down together, smiling, and I get the feeling that this crew had a good laugh together,
You'd hope
working
so,
together.
you know.
I wouldn't mind seeing the extended actually final scenes. I think that'd be pretty cool. Tila's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've got my He-Man back, so I don't have to worry about anyone. Poor old Courtney Cox, though, had to obviously lean into Dolph and hug him, even though he's covered in baby oil, which is a prerequisite for this film. And the sorceress still gets to do barely anything. I
Yeah,
feel so sorry for her.
You know what I just realised is quite an odd thing, though?
Go on.
I say odd, I don't mean it that way. But I noticed that Rory McNeil's character, it'd have been so easy for him to have him be jealous of He-Man,
Yeah.
but he's not.
I think the way that Dolph plays it, though,
Mm.
is almost like when she hugs him, he then straight away is like, hey, buddy, thank you, blah, blah. So he's definitely, he's playing gracious, heroic, I'm genuinely not interested in you type guy.
Yeah, he's like the ultimate big brother, in essence.
Now, they throw in this lovely little twist, and it is a twist, which is all the way through the film, our human heroine has had this tragic element to her story. And it's only right at the end when she's going back that she goes, oh, maybe you can actually give me a happy ending.
Yeah, it's... Actually, I remember watching this, and it's really sweet.
Yeah.
Because it shows that Gwildor kind of had this in mind to start with.
Yeah, it was too late for him to change the plan of what he was going to do. He was always going to do this. However, we now need to consider the butterfly effect.
Oh, yes.
Because they have royally screwed up their dimension.
I think it could all be cleared away with a simple phrase, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yes. I'll admit, though, when I was younger, I thought that this actress played Evil Lynn. Because, of course, I thought the eyes were contacts, and I thought, oh, they just, she plays both a good guy and a bad guy here.
Yeah.
It's almost like a bit of a kind of cross-dimensional thing. But, yeah, just amazing. I just love that. Love the fact that she has this weird Andy Pandy style. Like, I'm sure people... Like, I have no idea what women slept in the 80s in bed. I'm going to be honest, I'm not that old. But it just doesn't seem like the sort of thing. I wonder where Duncan ended up.
It does feel a little bit like they were supposed to be much younger characters.
Yeah.
But,
she does. Let's face it, they do stay away from a lot of that stuff all the way through the film, so it's probably for the best.
It was a great design for Castle Grayskull, though.
It was. I just wish we'd seen more.
Yeah. That's kind of like the main thing about this one, isn't it? We just want more.
And it was going to happen. It was. It just never came to pass. Also,
John Cypher, is that not one of the coolest sounding names? And aptly played Duncan.
I've never heard of Cypher. I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, there we go, Pig Boy. Pig Boy got his name on the credits. Richard Spotzer. He won his. I think it was either the equivalent of Blue Peter or it was Blue Peter. It was the American. I don't know where it was filmed, but yeah, it was so late in the production that they didn't think they could actually give him a spot because they'd already shot most of the Earth stuff.
Yeah,
and so Mobius was involved in this. Mobius.
That explains a lot, actually. Ooh, Michael Westmore's makeup. That also checks out, yeah.
This has some tight... Honestly, it has some really, really good people working on this, which is why it was so good. It's just, they got screwed over. The main thing was they didn't get paid by Mattel on time.
Oh, I
So
wasn't aware of that.
yeah,
Oh,
Mattel, that was the rock that started the avalanche when they were already in a bad situation.
hmm.
But they didn't get paid on time, so they couldn't pay people. So money was suddenly tight. So they were up against the wall. So yeah, I mean, you can't blame any of the people involved in. They really, really did try, and
They really
for
did.
for a long time as well. This was the sort of thing that it did go out on video. It did okay,
Hmm.
it didn't do too bad, and I think it was a staple. And then I think it went out on probably a low rent DVD. I don't think I ever saw a special
Uh,
edition for this.
no, let's see. I remember seeing it at the video shops when that was still a thing.
Sorry, just quick. They actually did the visual effects in 65 mm. No wonder it looks good.
Dang.
That's yeah, okay. Then again, back then they would do
Yeah,
because you weren't talking about digital, so
yeah.
that was your choice. Nowadays, only Christopher Nolan does stuff in 65.
And that's because he's one of the more mental filmmakers not named James Cameron.
There we go, folks. There is the link between the greatest filmmaker of our current age and Masters of the Universe.
But which one did we mean? Nolan or Cameron?
Well,
Raw.
that's true. There's a lot of stuff. I think that there will be nods to this in the film that comes out. I think they'll be a bit cheap. I think there'll be remember berries,
Hmm.
but I think they'll
It's
do
the
it.
way of things. I hope that, let's see, I do hope they find ways to just give some little nods back. Would be nice.
By the way, Dolph had a drama coach and a speech coach. That tells you that there really was a
Hmm.
struggle. They really had these guys helping. I think he also had a personal hairstylist, which
I
you
mean,
know
let's be honest, that hair.
it was. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't go with the. Yeah, I bet you they did do a test with a wig with the original He-Man cartoon hair.
It's a tough look to carry off.
It is. I mean, it was a power bob way back before power bobs were really a thing.
Yeah, and honestly, that slightly spiky, mullety style they gave him for this really did make this version of He-Man stand out.
Yeah.
Although, interestingly, I don't think Dolph's He-Man got a figure until like 2-3 years ago.
That wouldn't surprise me actually, because
Yeah.
then again, because stuff was tied up with canon films, there was an issue with rights, and that would be another thing for the probably VHS releases.
Yeah, that scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Do you think as well it'd be like the kid who maybe had been a little bit scared all the way through the film, and then people were leaving? It's like, oh, I don't want to leave. Let me sit here for a bit, enjoy the rest of my popcorn. And the parents are like, finally, we get to leave a cinema without leaving our kid with some sort of lasting trauma. And then suddenly that pops up on screen, and the parents are as scared as the kid is.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Do you know this is probably the first one of these where we have directly talked about what is on the screen at points? And I
It's
think
such a good one to do that with, though, isn't it?
yeah, because I think there's so much visually on. It's such a rich film. It just
Mm.
looks lovely. I kind of wish it was given a bit more love.
Yeah.
I'd like maybe some YouTube reactors to have a look at this. I know it's
Mm.
cheesy, but I think they'd have a good laugh with this.
I think so. It's one of those movies where its reputation, I think, precedes it a bit, even if you even know about it.
Yeah,
And that's coloured people's opinions massively. And it is one of those things where, all right, on VHS, it was kind of like a video rental staple for most of those stores was until they went down, sadly.
mm,
On DVD, if I remember rightly, it was probably about '06 or '07 it finally hit DVD,
yeah,
and it was a fairly bare bones disc if I remember, not too much on it. I don't think it's had a Blu-ray, but it's one of those films where I don't think Blu-ray would serve it
yeah.
because there is a tendency with some films that the higher the definition they get, the more harm the original product ends up having.
Yeah, they don't like just because you're saying you're giving it higher quality doesn't mean that it serves it better.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's best viewed in the spirit that it was made in.
Hmm.
I
I mean,
get it.
unless something, and I think even stuff that's say been remastered for HD or 4K, sometimes even that doesn't really work for the source material because it was never intended to be viewed in that manner.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I agree. I think Massive Universe is a film that could do great guns as a reaction video
Mm.
because it's a fun film. I
Back
know
back
we're
when
like,
we used to make films because they would be fun.
yeah.
And I know
I
that
mean,
that seems like, oh, Adam, you're very jaded. I'm not. It's just because it didn't have that approach. Like now, there wasn't. You have to have the action beat here, and you have to have the joke there,
mm,
and you have to do this. No, this was just made because they had a toy property. They tried to figure something out, and they had a bit of a laugh. And the actors clearly had a ball, so
yeah.
it was fun.
I mean, for production design, I still adore that film's production design.
Yep.
It, it, yeah, it's of the 80s, but it holds up real well
Mm,
because so much of it they did do it practically. Sure, there's
agree.
stuff that's clearly been put onto a back screen, but equally, there's almost everything in that film. There's a physical version of it
Yep.
in some way that you can see people interacting with. There's some lovely matte shots, which is something that is now very much almost a
A lost
lost
art.
art to some extent, which is a shame because Matt's did so much work for so long as well to help get past the limitations of filmmaking.
Mm.
But no, I'm glad we did this one because I've always had a soft spot for it. It doesn't deserve. It probably didn't deserve to succeed as well as we'd like it to have done, but it didn't deserve to fail as badly as it did.
Yeah,
I
and
think it may have been a
it's
wrong place, wrong time situation.
also it failed. It didn't like flops are normally reserved for films which completely floundered.
Hmm.
This did poorly, yes, but it is not the disaster that some other films are. You know, it did okay, and I
Yeah.
think it has made its money back.
You'd
And
think so by now, yeah.
yeah, and it'll get some extra runs. It'll certainly get some extra views on Prime because of this. I'm sure at some point it will come back. So
Oh, yeah.
it's
I
all
mean,
good.
as we're recording this, it's in the leaving Prime in 30 days bracket, but that stuff rotates back onto Prime so frequently. I mean, I reckon
I'm going to be
within
honest, given our release schedule and stuff I know,
it'll probably be
th-
back on by the time.
well, it will absolutely not be on Prime by the time this goes out. Let's be realistic about
True.
this. I'm
But
I'm recording this in the year 2021, so I hope everything's going well. But yeah, I think it will, yeah, it'll do okay. And I
yeah,
think, yeah, I would love to see this just get a little bit more attention before the new film comes out, and then just the new film have some cheeky nods to it, and it makes you realize as well, a nice, fun, cheeky, like sword and sorcery, like just
yeah.
tread that line really well,
Hmm.
and hopefully they'll have a hit on their hands, which would be lovely.
I hope so. Yeah, 'cause I
Uh,
never want to see a film fail. There are films, not for me, I might dislike it, might not gel with the director or the writer or someone, member of the cast or whatever, but you never want to see something fail. And
agree.
a lot of people seem to. And that always makes me sad because who gets happy about seeing something fail, you know?
Yeah. Look, I'm
So,
gonna suggest that we end it there because otherwise that could take us into a rant where we
oh,
just
absolutely.
we literally just old man it against the state of modern cinema,
Roar!
and that would be one of those situations where we go, hey everyone, there's a 3-minute introduction to this movie, then the movie, then there's an hour and a half discussion afterwards, and I'm the guy who has to try and edit stuff around that, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm good with that.
Fair.
So, thank you so much. I think you suggested this one.
Well, you suggested it originally after we did Conan, and
Okay.
I suggested because this has been as we were doing this, it's been about a month since we last did a recording.
Good grief, really?
Maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4.
Yeah,
I
it
just
feels.
thought it'd be nice to get something done in August.
Yeah, no, it'd be good. It'd be good.
So, keep the flow going so we can at least try and have a schedule we stick to ish.
Well, we don't even know. This is the thing. I don't know where this is going to end up. But
But
that'll
we
be
we
that'll
we're
be discussions for the first week in September, I think.
but we're building a content backlog. That's good.
We are, yes.
It means there'll become a point where if we can't do something, we haven't got to worry as much as you'd think.
The good thing is we have quantity. At some point, we will address the matter of quality. But don't hold your
Yeah.
breath on that one. And with that ringing endorsement of our product,
Hell yeah.
no, thank
We
you, mate.
aspire to mediocrity.
Thank you so much for this. I've really enjoyed it.
So, Amit, thank you for. I know you've had a long old day as it is, so thank you for jumping on.
Hey, no, all good, all good.
And as ever, thank you for handling all the post duties because
Remember, this still might fall apart. Oh, by the way, people at home, if it has fallen apart, like, share, and subscribe.
yeah, because everyone loves a train wreck.
Exactly. So yeah, with that, folks, thank you very much, and we will see you on the next show,
Yeah.
whenever that might be, whatever that might be.
See you next time, folks. Bye bye.
Bye.